Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel, The Gentleman Reviewer. As always, please hit that subscribe button and really help my channel grow. I couldn't keep growing without you guys, and it would be greatly appreciated. If you really like what I'm doing, make sure to hit that to where you get notifications, and that way you get a little red bubble every time that I post a video. I usually post about once, twice a week usually. So last week I actually didn't post either an ink review or some sort of stationery review. I had a pretty busy week with some family and friends, and I just wanted to spend time with them. I didn't want to take time away in order to go to a blog post or something like that. So given that, I did take a week off. I feel like it's good to take a vacation from anything that you're doing. But I'm back this week reviewing the Morning Glory Mach 3. This is actually my third take of this video. It's early in the morning, and I've been yawning throughout the last two videos. So I quickly got some coffee, which I have right over here. I don't know if I'll be able to, I don't know, my Freudian sips mug. So hopefully I'm not yawning anymore, and we'll go from there. So this pen I first came across on a review by Gentleman Stationer. I think he reviewed it a couple of years ago, and he seemed to like it. And I've followed his blog for a while, and I wanted to give it a shot as well, see what I thought for myself, and then I decided that, hey, why not review it? So check out his post. You'll be able to find a link in my blog. But overall, I've been fairly impressed with it. Like, it's a pretty decent disposable pen, disposable roller ball. Just a nice addition to like a Pilot Precise V5. And if you like roller balls, I mean, they seem to be pretty similar to me so far, but I also don't have a lot of experience with the roller balls. So I definitely like this more than the Pilot Precise V5, which I like more than the Zebra R301, I think it is. But yeah, let's dive into this pen in particular. So I've had the chance to use it for 2 weeks pretty consistently, given that I didn't post a review last week. I was planning on reviewing it last week, but I didn't get the chance to. Like I said, I just took the break. So I've been using it for 2 weeks pretty consistently, and then given that I've had it for a few months, I've used it off and on. It's been sitting in my stationery bag, so I've used it off and on for a good chunk of time, probably a couple months at this point. Alright, but let's dive into this pen. So unfortunately I couldn't find a lot about the manufacturer Morning Glory. I was able to find a store called Morning Glory in the United States, which didn't really seem to be related to this at all. Most I could find was a little blurb on jet pens that these are manufactured in South Korea. I mean, it even says right here, made in Korea. So that's literally all I could find about it. I really like knowing more about the manufacturers, just so you kind of get a story behind the product design or something like that. And I just like it. So the only remarkable, it's a fairly unremarkable in design and appearance. Pretty standard plastic body, clear plastic clip. Has the window on the side, much like the Pilot Precise V5. That way you can see your ink levels. Given that it's a rolling ball with liquid ink, I'm assuming that the whole body, probably up to this plug, which goes to, it looks like right about there, is filled with ink. So you've got quite a big reservoir. It's got a clear grip that you can see there. I think you can make out the little rectangles that make up a somewhat knurled grip, and then the tip itself. So it's a 0.38 millimeter. Pretty fine, much smaller than or not much smaller, but significantly smaller than the V5, which is 0.5. So I guess I'm comparing it to the V5 quite a bit, because this is probably one of the most common rolling balls that you'll come across, at least here in America. Yeah, so the outside of it stood up pretty well. It's been sitting in in my pen case with a bunch of other pens, the Nomadic PE09 at the bottom of my Osprey backpack, and it's been getting pretty much smashed by my Padfolio because of the stationery bag likes to work its way down to the bottom of my bag, and it just gets smushed all together. So overall, the body itself has stood up pretty well. You can see some wearing on the 3, if I can get it in shot. You can see some wearing on the 3. The 0.38 has a nick in it, which I don't know if you can see on camera, but right above the clip, all of that's been wearing off. So that was a solid, I think that just says Mach and then 0.38. So, but I mean, overall, it's been holding up pretty well. You can see that the cap did get a crack in it. I don't know if that's from being smushed at the bottom of my bag or just from the work of pulling it off and on, because there's a little lip right there that would separate the cap in order for it to snap on securely. So it's possible that either one could have been the problem. I could have also just dropped it. I'm going to say most likely it would just stay at the bottom of my bag and get smashed. So while I'm on the outside, the clip itself is pretty secure. I mean, for a cheap pen, that's pretty good. It's a lot more sturdy than the Pilot Precise, so quite a bit more actually. It looks like it's angled. The clip itself is angled, and then it looks like the way this is pressing it down is just really pushing it against the body. So it's been very sturdy. It stayed in my pocket, it stayed in a pen loop, and just, yeah, I usually have it in a Smart Fit notebook cover from We Hit Lab. So despite being a plastic pen, the Mach 3 does feel good in my hands, and it's got an okay grip. The grip's diameter is 9.2 millimeters, and the body is 10.8, so there's a pretty significant drop right here. Why is that not focusing? Come on, there we go. So you can see, though, that it doesn't taper pretty much at all. It's cylindrical, a big jump, and then cylindrical. There's a small taper near the tip, but that's not really something that you're going to feel on your hands. The little rectangles that make up the kind of semi-knurled grip, not even, I don't know if I'd even call it semi-knurled, it does feel good. I mean, it's slightly grippy. On longer riding sessions, you're still going to get a little bit slippery. But overall, I mean, it was pretty decent of a riding experience. The length is pretty standard. I mean, capped, it's 5.5 inches, which is 13.9 centimeters. Posted, like I just had it, it's 5.7 inches or 14.5 centimeters, and uncapped, it's just 5 inches or 12.8 centimeters. So fairly standard length, fits well in my hand. Pretty much for me, as long as it hits the side of my palm right there, I feel like it's a good length. So anything shorter than that, and I just have a hard time gripping. And I tend to grip fairly close to the tip, so that, you know, I have some extra length back there. So if it doesn't hit that, it's pretty short. So we finally reached the most important aspect of pretty much any pen, which is the writing experience with it. So like I already said, it's a 0.38 needle point, and the tip is made of metal. The only thing that is not made of plastic on this pen is the tip and the clip. So let's dive into the pen itself, or the writing experience with it. So this is, it's loaded with fluorescent ink, and it comes in blue, black, and red. And I already stated it's a liquid ink roller ball. So it's going to put a lot of ink on paper, and it's going to have some pretty, you know, I guess deep colors. I don't know if I really want to say vivid, but deep colors is probably a better way to put it. So that's where I usually do my ink samples. So let's go behind it, and we'll do a little writing experience and compare it with the Pilot Precise V5. And I have the Pilot G2 there just in case I decide to actually use it, but I don't know yet. So, Morning Glory. Mach 3. I'm sorry, I always seem to have allergies when I'm doing these videos for whatever reason. So I don't mean to like sniff in your ear or something. But you can see it wrote pretty well. Let's compare it to the Pilot Precise V5. I'm not going to write it all out because this video is going a lot longer than I already thought. So they actually have, I mean, the V5 is just slightly thicker. Oh, sorry, I knocked that out of camera and I didn't notice it. The V5 is just slightly thicker, I mean, as it should be, but both of them write pretty smoothly and pretty well. I'm not going to do a sample on all of the papers. On cheap printer paper, given that this is liquid ink, on cheap printer paper it did feather quite a bit and I really couldn't use it, which is unfortunate because that's primarily what I use at work, and I really wanted to give this pen a good solid test. But I mean, when I got it on, like I'm using a Tau Tree journal right now for work, which I think it's 120 GSM paper, so it's pretty thick and almost like cardstock, and it worked pretty well. No feathering, no problems, and I mean, any any upgrade from cheap printer paper, you're gonna have that with these pens, because I mean it's designed to work well across the board on paper. The writing experience, I mean, it was pretty smooth overall. I didn't get a lot of feedback unless the paper itself was pretty bad, but it was pretty smooth. When I did get it at a higher angle, so something like that, I don't know very many people that write like that, but I tend to write at maybe, I think that's like a 45-degree angle about. Um, it looks like a 40, maybe 45. I'm probably wrong. I'm not going to hold the protractor up to it and figure it out. But when I got it beyond like there, it didn't want to write as well and it was a bit more scratchy. I feel like that's going to happen with any pen really, because then it's going to be hitting that the conical side rather than the ball on a roller ball or gel pen, and it just wasn't working as well. But I mean, overall, it glided. I don't know. That's not the right word. It ran across the paper very smoothly, and it was a decent writing experience. It didn't, like I said, it wasn't very tactile, so it wasn't really crappy or anything like that. So now that I'm at the 11-minute mark, overall, I have really enjoyed using the Mach 3. I have noticed they become harder and harder to find in the last couple months. So be sure to get them while you can. It looks like they're upgrading to a Pro Mach, I think is what it's called. I found it on Jet Pens and a couple other places, and I can't really seem to find this. And I have a Campus Mach, which I'll probably review eventually. But that one I can't find anywhere at all. So get them while you can if you want to try a pretty decent rollerball, and we'll go for, and let me know what you think. So I did notice that I forgot to talk about the weight, which now I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it in my notes. But overall, there it is. It's pretty light. So it weighs 0.38 ounces or 11 grams. So it's, like I said, it's on the light side, which I don't often prefer. Um, but I mean, for a throw around pen, I mean, it's great. It's fine. Um, but yeah, that's all the specs that I've got. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And as always, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.